I'm just gonna go more into kind of like how we started this. My name is Sonia, and I'll later introduce myself, but I'm the founder of Medical Wonders. And basically, I just wanted today to be kind of informative and kind of, more, I guess, practical of a way to kind of put how to run an organization and stuff, because there's a lot that you need to do in such a short amount of time. Like, it feels like everything's working against you and you can't really do anything about it. We're just going to kind of break it down, and I have two other presenters. Hold on. And they're part of their own organizations. We have Inspire Medicine and Cypher Teens. Genchi Doctors, I believe, could not really make it. We're just going to roll with that. I'm going to give it towards Inspire Medicine first, and I'm going to be sharing my screen. We're gonna kind of do a presentation style type thing, and then we're gonna go right into Q&A. So let me just share with you. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna mute myself, and then I can give it over to Inspire Medicine. So this is just kind of our format of how everything's gonna go, but yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Arian and I'm the head of marketing at Inspire Medicine. In this segment, I'm just going to be going over starting an organization. So the first thing that you want to really keep in mind when starting an organization is planning and initiation. So the first thing you want to keep in mind is having a passion when starting an organization. That's the driving factor that's really going to take you from point A to point B when starting your org. So you have to keep in mind the commitment and the amount of time and energy it's going to take when starting that organization. And you want to make sure it reflects your intentions and your passion. So some important questions that you want to ask yourself are, what do you want the structure of your organization to look like? Are you following a C-suite, which is like a CEO, COO type format, or a director model? What is the purpose for your organization, and what do you want to provide to the community around you? What kind of activities are you planning to host? And what goals do you have for your organization? So do you want to register as a 501c3? And if so, where do you plan to get funded? So the next step after you've come up with your initial idea and you've launched your organization is recruiting your executive board. So there's two methods you can go about doing this. So the first is the proximity method. The proximity method is finding your executive board members from the people that you know or that are in your inner circle. So you can reach out to friends, classmates, relatives, anybody that you know that could be best fit for your organization. You would know their work ethic, you would know that they do a good job, and they would bring quite a bit to your organization. The only thing that would be like a disadvantage for you is your organization would become difficult to scale, and taking it on an international or national level would be difficult. So the second method is the global method. A lot of organizations use this. So using social media and professional outreach methods to recruit the executive board is a technique that several organizations use, including Inspire Medicine. So through this, you can market yourselves as international or national as soon as you get your first executive board member, and you can easily gain traction in different communities all over the world through social media. The only thing is that you have to do your research before recruiting them. You don't really know their work ethic, so you really want to make sure that when you're recruiting them, that they present themselves well and they're going to be committed to your organization.
So now this is Sci for Teens, and we'll be talking about how to manage an org. So for board and executive positions, as mentioned previously, you have to hire an executive board through advertising applications. This can be done through a variety of social media platforms just because you're starting out. So Instagram is very popular. Um, so you have to also make sure that each person is in charge of the role that they signed up for. So what I mean by that is it kind of ties into the fact that founders or executive directors or CEOs should not be micromanaging each of the roles because you have hired an executive board just to do those very things. Founder, like micromanaging will just give you unnecessary stress and it'll make your executive board less likely to work with you. So just give them some freedom because they were selected into the position. We also have to understand that board members have other commitments too. So they cannot spend all their time on your one organization. However, with that being said, the board members should be dedicated to your organization. So as the mission or as your organization is evolving, you can add board members if you need more people to handle a particular role, or you can remove them if they're not sort of committed or to your organization. So here are three sort of communications platforms that we use to manage our organization. So we have Slack, that's an executive board workspace. It's, in my opinion, more professional than Discord. And so because you sort of have a group chat where you can discuss ideas and just items of action, you can meet through video calls less often, which is it's a little more efficient. We also use Zoom for bi-weekly video calls. So they're usually for like quick check-ins and just future directions. And we take the notes of this meeting on a document. We also use Google Drive to organize documents, assignments, and forms. And these are organized in a folder structure. And we also have sort of a task list for every member and other information related to the org. So when you're also managing your organization, one important thing to note is goal setting. So you have to make sure that what the goals that you're setting, you should have short-term and long-term goals. And both these goals should be connected to your mission statement. You also have to make sure that your goals are tangible using and like the easiest way to achieve that is using numbers, and it should be achievable. So what I mean by that is you cannot say within 1 week gain 5,000 followers on Instagram because that is just not going to happen. You have to realize that building up sort of your brand, your marketing, your organization, that's going to take some time. So you need to have the time aspect as well as a reasonable number to your goal. And I recommend for outreach related goals, use social media. And don't worry if your goal isn't achieved, it's all part of the process. You can kind of use that to sort of reevaluate where you're at and adjust your future goals. But at the same time, after each goal is met, you should reflect. What can you improve upon next time? What have you learned from this achieving this goal that you might use to achieve future goals?
So in this segment, I'm going to be going through gaining traction and support through your social media pages and for your organization in general. So just some statistics before I go on. Account growth is something that you really want to be like looking at, and account growth is really something that's going to take place, especially when you're starting your organization. That's when you're really building your key audience, and at that time, you really want to take into account stuff like engagement, like the percentage that your account grows, but you have to, as Cypher Teens mentioned, you have to expect that it happens at like slow and steady. So here are some tips that I have. So the first is make your organization known through social media. Work with other organizations on coordinating Instagram takeovers. And at the beginning, don't worry about how large the other organization is. Shoot them a quick DM, make sure the takeover is mutual, and that way both organizations will have a chance in promoting themselves. As a tip, don't only promote your org, give the audience some tips and advice as well. For example, when our founder does Instagram takeovers, she really focuses on relating with the audience and providing them tips on stuff like AP classes, productivity, time management, etc. So the next thing you want to do is don't look at the number, look at the percentage. So something that I've found to be very helpful is looking at the percentage of engagement you receive on a post rather than focusing on the number of likes. You have to understand that the larger an organization gets, the more likes they're going to get naturally. But the percentage of followers that engage with your post can be compared with other organizations and can be compared at your own organization at different stages. The final tip is keeping your audience engaged. Make sure that your audience is engaged, and making sure that they're engaged plays a big part in how active they are in signing up for events and signing up for your resources. Use Instagram stories to your advantage, and if somebody answers yes or interested to a poll or quiz that you post, shoot them a quick DM with some follow-up information. So the next tip that I have is joining a nonprofit group. This is something that will really help you in spreading your message, especially when you just get started off. Most organizations will be really happy to shout out your page or your story, and that way you can reach over 500 people with the help of just a few nonprofits. The next tip that I have is really giving your audience what exactly they want. So asking your audience what they want will show them that you care for their benefit, and that will encourage them to sign up for events and stay tuned for more updates. The final tip that I have is be unique. When you're starting your organization, make sure the ideas that you have for your organization are unique and original. For example, Inspire Medicine has a virtual internship match program that we offer to our members and ambassadors. That way we can provide them cold emailing tips, interview tips, resume polishing, etc. We also have our own e-magazine, Inspira, and these are all defining programs that attract people on Instagram.
Okay, so the second one is, the fourth one is actually going into the whole creating unique ideas, as what Inspire Medicine mentioned. So I'm going to be taking over that side. And before I actually went in, I just wanted to formally introduce myself a little. So I'm a rising senior from New Jersey. I have over 300 hours in community service, whether it be volunteering, shadowing my pediatrician, or tutoring other individuals during the pandemic. And I've raised a lot of money for food banks and masks, and these are kind of some of the leadership positions that I have. And I also play the violin, and I'm also the founder of this organization itself. So you can reach me at those two handles. And like I said again, we're always here for advice. So if you want to DM me either on my personal or the organization account, I've been through a lot, and I have a lot of experience with like leadership and stuff like that. So I've had a number of members and random people reach out to me about how to make some stuff better and their organizations better as well. So I'm willing to help with that. So first thing you have to look at is actually brainstorming. So in order to completely start an organization, you need to figure out your passion. You need to figure out a passion project. You need to figure out what's something that I can do to not only benefit the world, but it'll benefit others around me as well. Because let's also being realistic, you're not going to grow like 5K followers in 2 weeks or even 1 week worth of time unless you have amazing social media skills. And you should look for others for inspiration, but don't copy. I've had numerous organizations copy mine and other organizations that have been there for longer, whether it be kind of adapting our different ideas, having different days that we also have that kind of are delegated towards our different projects. And because of that, I've had to reach out to a lot of them, and they've had to completely change their mission statement and stuff. So if that ever happens, it shouldn't happen because there's a lot of nonprofits out there right now, but just realize that copying and doing it for college apps is not the right way to do it at all. You won't get far, and people will realize that your substance is not good, rather than you doing a billion things at once and not doing them in a way that it'll kind of improve their life and improve others as well. So they won't find any cause to kind of join your organization. So please do not do it for college apps. Please just do it because you have, a good feeling in your heart and you actually find a different passion project. There's a lot of organizations that have overlap, like especially medicine organizations, but a lot of people are able to tell the difference because of the different ideas and the different mission statements that we have, and they're not similar to any of the other ones. So here are some ways that you can kind of boost your organization and kind of figure out how you want to do, how you want to kind of go about your organization. You could do fundraising, gain traction through Instagram, shout outs and stuff, create memberships, and make sure you're also getting feedback and taking it one step at a time. I made a really big mistake starting out, kind of doing 5 things at once. I did a lot of stuff at once, and it was just really hard to focus on a lot of things. So some of the things that I wanted to do, I couldn't, and I had to kind of like get rid of it. So you need to make sure that you're also getting feedback from other nonprofits. A lot of nonprofits are very supportive and they will comment under your post. So if they do and they say, oh, good job, but it's really good. But some of them will also come to you with concerns saying, oh, I think you're copying this organization's motto or stuff like that. So you have to be willing to kind of approach it in a light way and not trying to be rude with it, as well as kind of reach out for criticism, like Inspire Med said, create like an Instagram poll or a Google form for members to fill out to see what they think that we should do better as an organization and stuff like that. So, okay, so I'm just gonna go to this one. I put the slides everywhere, but so some of the projects that we have for Medical Wonders is we have a Medical Wonders membership. So students are tasked to read articles published by our teams and respond in feedback, as well as recruit others. So they also have free admission to all of these programs that we hosted, such as the nonprofit panel and others as well, and soon to be Med Week for next year. And we also have a pre-med panel. So we're actually one of the only, I think, organizations that actually has a lot of the undergrad advice. So I was getting a lot of questions about MCATs in grad school. Obviously, I'm only a high school senior, so I would not know about it a lot. So I created this panel of about 15, dedicated, young, hardworking students from all around the U.S. and basically to answer questions, come on Q&A, release bi-monthly articles. So it actually proved to be really helpful because a lot of people loved our panel. The next one we have is kind of the tutoring platform. So a lot of the STEM subjects are used in MCATs and AP classes, so it's important to teach them. So we have about like 50 tutors, and they all work on STEM and STEM subjects, as well as we have college overseers that are able to kind of, so I don't have to keep contacting them about where it is. So they actually oversee all the tutoring groups, and they assign people monthly on who's going to be doing the slides and stuff like that. And leading chapters as well. So this is pretty generic because a lot of organizations do this. But if you introduce different rules and ways they can lead it, it definitely becomes unique. Like we have a mandatory thing of having at least one fundraiser that's up, whether it's with us in collaboration or with the school or region, as well as we have to have them establish a member board, and they have different tasks that they have to do and commit to as well. And they also have to attend our webinars and kind of create a webinar with us as well. So other helpful tips, try to think about smaller and larger projects. Once again, you don't want to be going in creating a nonprofit saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do like a bunch of things and never do it at all. And you may want to be inclined to do a lot. Like I said, please don't. I made this huge mistake and literally it was the worst thing ever. Thankfully, I had time over the COVID break to kind of figure out what I was doing. But if you're going to be starting one, school starting, a lot of you guys probably have college apps or are studying, and it's just not okay. This organization is definitely a priority, but you should not be spending a lot of time on it. I usually spend, I mean, this is a lot for me, but I can manage my time well. I usually spent about 5 to 10 hours every week kind of doing stuff, but you just kind of get into it and stuff. But when you're starting out, please don't do that. You just want to first build your base, and then later on, you'll have people to actually designate some of the tasks and some of the things to do. So just don't do that. And don't copy other orgs. I don't know how many times I have to stress this. It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to other people that own these organizations, and it just does not look good. People are going to be coming out to you anyways and saying, you know, this is stupid. Like give them, you know, credit and stuff like that. And you want the activities to align with your purpose and mission statement. So obviously, this includes like if you're going to do a medicine org, you know, it should be under the STEM, but it should be more heavily focused towards medicine-related stuff. And you also want to be confident and motivated. So don't do it for college apps, like I said. And if you need help, always reach out to an organization and see if you can collab. So when I was first starting out, I collabed with a lot of individuals. I collabed with Coach Tony on TikTok. I collabed with Turn West Coast. I'm collabing right now with these other two organizations that are on with me. So there's different ways you could do it. You can do it on social media. You can host a webinar. You can do a spread of a word. And our members are actually required to send the screenshots of them recruiting others to kind of join our organization. So that also works as well. So always reach out and definitely have a plan on how you're going to kind of go about it. So, okay, so this one is kind of Q&A. So we kind of ended with it. But if you can ask us about our organizations, current projects, any general advice, or even personal questions. So you guys feel free to kind of drop it in the comment section as well, and then we can take turns answering it. Okay, so one question I got was how to figure out how to actually grow your organization in a month or in 2 months, because they're kind of having trouble gauging the audience and kind of seeing if people are actually interested or they just kind of like followed. So how to have like more active members and how to kind of grow the organization if someone wants to take over for that.
I feel like the way our organization works, it's not really member based because we have a contest basically, which accepts submissions from other people, and they don't necessarily have to become members or anything. So I don't think I would be the right person to answer that question.
Okay. Yeah, so I can definitely answer it. So we have a lot of members and stuff. So I was able to create a membership because a lot of people, after we got like over 3K followers on Instagram, a lot of people were reaching out, and our executive board applications closed, our tutoring applications closed. So we were really left no choice. So ours is mainly member-based as well, but we also open a lot of the medicine talks and the med week open to general members that aren't members themselves. But for the general members that we have about 200, and they basically get exclusive benefits. So they're automatically emailed the links to any of the workshops. They're able to read articles. They're able to kind of give us feedback as well. and they're kind of able to collab with us. Like if they have an organization, they usually get first priority if they reach out. And they also get hours for all of these workshops as well, as long as they come and tell us. So we've had other webinars as well, and a lot of members came to them. So it's kind of gauging the audience. So providing them incentives is the main key. Because if they don't feel like they're gaining anything from it and they're not getting kind of rewarded for it, whether it's in service hours or something like that, they're more likely not going to want to join. But besides the fact that it's a really good organization and stuff, most kids just want hours, and they want to be recognized for their work as well. So I think that's the main thing, kind of giving them incentives and kind of giving them a little more of gauging their kind of attention. So introducing different ways that the organization is going to either feature people, like feature medical professionals or something like that. So the next question is, what would you guys do to constantly keep growing even after hitting 1,000 followers?
So I guess I can answer this, but I can answer part of this. Our organization hasn't really hit 1,000 followers just yet, but growing from, let's say, 500 and just continuously growing is something that will happen not only over time, but partnering with other organizations will really help you with that. So whether it be engaging in shout outs, doing takeovers, participating in these types of panels, all those techniques for growing your organization are really effective when it comes to growing your organization in the long run.
Yeah, same. So I think, so we've hit like 3K. We're almost at 4K. It's been crazy. When we had our peak, we had about 200 people DMing us and stuff. So we would just create posts that are informative, and it would just answer everyone's questions, like what we have for volunteering opportunities and all of that. And so constantly growing, still do collabs. Even though you have a good amount of followers, good amount of numbers, it still is not enough. I'm sure there's someone else out there that really wants to join your org and you don't even know it. So definitely collab with others. I'm starting to open up shout outs and stuff like that and collabs for my organization, because right now we've just been focusing more on opportunities wise because everyone's kind of out. But now since school's starting, we're going to be focusing more towards collabs. So it's kind of realizing when the audience is free and when they're not. Like our med week was literally such a hit. We had over like 200-300 people actually send us in summaries. So you have to kind of gauge the audience like that, and then you just kind of keep spreading the word. You're still not done. I'm sure there's other orgs as well that will be able to kind of see and kind of be able to know exactly what you're doing. And a lot of orgs also need the shout outs as well. They're just starting out and it can be daunting at first, but most of the orgs are really helpful in shouting you out and will have no problem. So obviously that's the way that we used to grow it.
So I also wanted to add that we're almost at 2K. And so it's what I talked about goal setting earlier, right? If your initial goal is at 1,000 and you meet it, you've got to set a new goal. And so if you just kind of keep setting those new goals, I feel like you'll be less likely to sort of lose steam after you've hit a certain number of followers or after you've hit a certain metric.
Yep. So the next one is, do you guys have a website? And if you do, how do you manage it? So I can go about this because we have a website. We're starting to kind of buy our own domain and pro features as well. So I actually have a website developer. She's a comp sci student at University of Michigan, and she's honestly amazing. She knows how to code, so she knows how to kind of set up websites and stuff like that. We use the WordPress, so usually there's templates for the websites. but it was just really a headache to me because I don't know how to do websites at all, and the people that are experienced usually are people that are in comp science, stuff like that, and eventually we're planning on coding the rest of our website. So just looking at the long-term goal, I was not satisfied with all the WordPress kind of templates, so I actually hired a website developer who has actually experience with coding, and she's actually learning more to kind of develop the website in a few months. So just basically having people, like I have social media managers, I have writers and stuff like that. So as your organization grows, there are going to be more people that are obviously interested in your organization. So I would just find different roles that people can actually play, give them different opportunities, and make sure that they're experienced as well, because I'm sure some of them would love to, but they don't really have enough experience, which is totally fine, which is why we also offer membership as well.
Yeah, so for our organization, we have a technology team who is currently working on developing our website. And we're currently using Wix. We're like getting the funding right now to purchase domains. And through our fundraising, we're hoping to eventually get there. So some of the things that I'd recommend is just when you're starting off your website, just making sure that everything that you're trying to present is clear and concise. So all the information, as soon as you go to the landing page of the website, is like clearly present. So I like highly recommend that you look into developing a website. You can always insert it in like a Linktree in your social media bios. So yeah, I definitely recommend.
So for our organization, we kind of just started out using Wix. And that .wixsite.com really bothered me and a lot of the members. So I had some knowledge of HTML and CSS. So I, along with the web developer that we have on our team, we sort of work together to make a website that's hosted on GitHub pages. That does require knowledge of coding, although I do highly recommend using Bootstrap templates, which are like pre-written coded templates. So it's easier for you to modify instead of writing your own code from scratch. So that's hosted on GitHub pages, and you can actually connect your own domain to it. And these domains, if you buy them on GoDaddy, they can be for as cheap as like $1.99. And like at that point, you don't really need fundraising for it because it's $1. And so that's how our site is hosted for $1.
Yeah. So the next question is it necessary to register as a 501c3, and how do you register? So I first started off, obviously nothing, no registering, and I'm starting the process, and usually the process takes about 5 to 6 months, and it's very intensive. There's a lot of forms, there's a lot of, like, you have to create your bylaws, you have to have an executive board based on how many people that's on your state, and you have to make sure that you have to do all the tax reductions and stuff like that, so you're exempt from the taxes. And on top of that, you have to also manage, there's like at least 6 to 8 papers that you have to do separately, and they're so long. And first, I knew that the process was going to be grueling, so I just wanted to focus on the organization. So if you want to describe your organization, obviously don't say that you're a nonprofit when you're not. We've made that mistake before because it just does not look good on other people. Instead, you can say, that you're a pending nonprofit, or that you're kind of like on the way for a nonprofit, or you could say student-led as well. And I feel like it's not really necessary to do a nonprofit, or it just gives you that legal status, like that, like the last solidifying thing, like, oh yeah, I'm a nonprofit. But if you're a student-led org, if you're a blog post, like just like a blog account, that's totally fine. It's literally the same thing. People are not going to think like a student org listed is any less than a nonprofit. But if you really want to get recognition for your organization, I do suggest the 501c, but wait until you're about 5-6 months into your organization and have everything running. I was not able to do this about a few months ago because I had a lot of stuff going on in the organization as well as school and stuff. But now I am, because I do have people that are helping me on some sides of the organizations. Like I have communicators, I have researchers, social media managers. So now I can kind of focus more on the legal status itself. And basically how you register is, one, you do the bylaws, two, you fill out the tax return forms and then you send it. And then you also do other forms as well. I can't really count it off the top of my head, but it will take a while to register. It'll take usually about a few weeks to register the first set and then the second set. And I know a lot of nonprofits that actually hired lawyers to do it, but that would be an extra $300 just for them to do it. So itself, if you do it by yourself, it's only $100. But then if you start adding lawyer fees and other fees as well, it comes to about like $400 to $500 extra. So you have to also think about that as well. Like, can you fundraise that much? Can you afford that much as well? And obviously we don't have enough money yet for that, so that's why I'm trying to do this all by myself. But obviously later, if we get the money, then it'll be different. If anyone else wants to add, you can.
I think that pretty much covered it.
Okay. So I'm gonna let you two take over. So how is your executive board structured, and how many members are there per team for group? So you guys for your exec board.
Yeah, so
Oh,
for our executive board, we really structure it in departments that deal with different sectors of our organization. So we have an outreach team, a marketing team, a technology team, and a research and publications team. So each sector has around like 3 to 4 people in it. So our entire executive board is around 15 people. And basically, I guess the name of the sector states what they do, but it's really important that when you have an executive board, that each department is actively communicating with the others. That way they can be productive, and that'll really help get the job done when it comes to expanding your organization. So we have, in our executive board, we have like a head for each sector. And then we have, let's say in our marketing team, I'm the head for marketing. We have graphic designers, junior medical writers, and then other people who are developing social media content. So they report to me, and then I would report to the president of our organization.
So for us, our structure, it's kind of similar, although we normally stick to having one director for everything except social media, which has 2 co-directors. So we're sort of limited to the one person is in charge of each team, but that kind of works for our organization just because of the way it's structured. So again, you have to evaluate on your goals and what you want to accomplish and structure your board based on that. There's no one size fits all.
Yeah, same. So our executive board, it's based on 4 teams. So we have researchers, we have editors. We have 2 researchers, 2 editors, 1 to 2 communicators, and 1 graphic designer. So that's at least 20 people on our exec board. But then we also have social media managers, 3 of them, and as well as our web designer, which is an extra 1. And we also have chapter leaders as well, so they're also part of our board. So first, I would start with kind of establishing if you want to do it like president, vice president, or if you want to do it based on research, and then kind of go into like establishing a chapter, finding other ways to do it as well. And for the members, it's just general members, like 200 of them, and they can't double up. So if they're a tutor, they can't be a member at the same time. So it just allows more people to kind of get with their organization. So in total, I think we have about 300 people that are actively involved with their organization, whether they're a member, a tutor, or an executive board member. So The next one is, how do you fundraise and get people to donate money?
So I just wanted to start off by saying that your organization, so at least for us, we don't actually need money because of just the way that we've been operating. We've been operating under sort of free subscriptions of everything. So, and we don't sort of need any money to like arrange a virtual event. So we're just kind of using our resources at the moment now. And if your organization does not need fundraising, then don't do it because that's illegal. Keeping any of the money that your organization is making, that is illegal. Please don't do that. So just be honest about what kind of budget your organization needs and like raise money based off of that.
So as an organization, what we do for fundraising or what we are planning on doing in the future is we have like a general member brand ambassador type um, structure for anybody who would like to join our Inspired Medicine community. So what they are responsible for is fundraising in their local communities with stuff like bake sales um, and like just like small stands that allow people to donate. And a lot of those proceeds go to like hospitals, they go to other relief charities, they go to a lot of different places. But essentially the amount of stuff that we would be keeping, the amount of money we would be keeping is very minimal. The only amount of money that you need to keep is the amount that you need to run your organization. So for example, if you needed fundraising to maintain your website and that's all you needed, or you needed something to promote your social media pages, that would be the only amount of, that would be the only amount of money that you keep. Well, you don't keep any of it, that you invest back into your organization.
Yeah, I agree with that. So we actually we were going to fundraise, but we just didn't start it yet because we didn't need the money initially. But when Med Week happened, there were over 200 people that actually signed up with us. So we thought it was feasible to kind of buy more room on Zoom. And the thing with that is that it's a lot of money. So once we reached about 100 people, we capped it and said, whoever is willing to donate, they can. But we do need $50 for us to at least buy all the extra space in Zoom, and then we'll open people up. We actually had no choice for this because we weren't planning on moving our kind of area to Google Meets or something like that because it just wasn't feasible for how we were going to run the organization. So Zoom was our best bet. And we did have people donate, and I think the main thing is a lot of people, they say that, oh yeah, let's fundraise, and like we'll use this organization money to this. But the main way that we saw it was that we had to make sure that the followers, whoever that wanted to donate or that didn't donate but wanted to see what was going on with us, needed to know exactly where the money was going. So we actually broke it down. So we said $50 for Zoom, $15 for website management for a year, and then $4 for the pro plan or other expenses. And everyone knew where our money was going, and we made sure that people knew. And we also offered advice on our Instagram story. We made sure that people showed videos of us kind of like buying the thing and making sure that people knew that our money was not just going to go anywhere else. So I think that's the main thing. And also getting the word out. I think our fundraising, we did it at a perfect time because people were interested in MedWeek. However, we felt really bad, but we definitely were not going to spend $50 out of our pocket because this is a nonprofit, and some of the opportunities that we have, it's really hard for them to make it free as well. So we had to do that, but a lot of people loved it and they were able to donate, whether it was $1 or $2, and majority of our funds came from doctors anyways, so we never pressured anyone and we never did anything like that. So we still have fundraising open as well, but it's on optional basis. We don't have any membership fees or anything like that because we understand a lot of people can't afford it. So that's how we kind of managed it. And I just think that you need to make sure, break it down for people on Instagram, saying, look, this is how much money we need, and this is the total of what we need, and this is where it's going towards. And then show people that, you know, you're not really making up the numbers and stuff. And then people will actually be able to trust your organization and find it more credible. So yeah, I mean, if you guys have any more questions, definitely put them right now because we have a few minutes left. But yeah, I mean, that's really however much we wanted to kind of go over today.
I actually just wanted to quickly add something before the meeting ends.
Yeah.
So definitely what you said about not copying other organizations or doing it just for college apps. If college apps is your motivation, then just don't do it. Don't start an organization, because starting an organization is a lot more work than you probably would imagine if you hadn't done one. And the only way you're gonna be able to see an impact or have sort of like a follow through is if you are passionate about the mission, and if you're still interested, even if it does take a lot of work. And another thing that I wanted to add is that at the same time, I know there's a lot out there that sort of bash nonprofits that are started for college apps for this very reason. And some of the anger is justified because of the operation of some of these nonprofits. But at the other time, the way you kind of want to make sure that you have a tangible impact in order to distinguish yourself from these organizations. But also, if people still keep attacking you, even if this hasn't personally happened to me, but like if people, so I'm not speaking from experience, but this is just sort of hypothetical, but if people still do attack you, then they're probably just jealous that your nonprofit is making an impact. So I would say that there are kind of two sides to that. So make sure you are making an impact, and definitely respond to constructive criticism. That's really important. But if it's just a hater hating, then I think we definitely have to learn to filter that kind of things, and that's what makes you a stronger person in the future.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So next one is, what's the best way to publicize your account when you're starting out and not shout outs?
So one of the tips that I used when our organization was just starting off is posting frequently and making the posts that you do make informative. So I definitely don't recommend like following a bunch of people and expecting them to follow you back. But I do recommend that you do post, let's say, when you're starting off, let's say you were posting 3 times a week. Make sure those posts are useful to your audience to get to know your organization. Let them know what you have to offer. Provide them with like small snippets of information through your social media. For example, our organization does like a series called Simply Facts, where we like present relevant issues or relevant topics like COVID-19, back to school with COVID, like drug allergies, all that kind of like all those like relevant topics today. So those are some tips that I have personally.
Yeah, I agree with all that. How do you contact doctors and professors for interviews or webinars? So I've had a lot of experience with this. When I was just starting out, I would personally contact through my organization and kind of introduce myself. I would say, hey, my name is Sonia, and I'm the founder of Medical Wonders. And then I would insert kind of a mission statement about our organization and say, oh, I have been watching you. If you find them on TikTok or Instagram, oh, I've been watching you, or I've seen some type of post from you on my explore page, and it really attracted me since day one. I was wondering if you would like to take over. We have a lot of high school kids or college kids that would want experience and advice from other people that are in the medical profession themselves. And then please let me know a date or time. I'm flexible, and I understand you have a lot going on. So basically be honest, be genuine, and know that, make sure they know that you know that they have a lot of they don't have a lot of time. And some doctors will just leave you on red. Some of them won't even answer, but the majority of them I found through other organizations also kind of doing shout outs, or doctors that kind of commented on other doctors pages that I already interviewed. So that's how I knew they were active on Instagram, and kind of like went about it through there.
Yeah, just
So
adding on. Oh, wait, sorry, was somebody speaking?
okay. So we actually have a newsletter where we sort of interview professionals in science communication. This is not the same thing as a doctor, but I think it should work because they're professionals in their field. We sort of either contact them through email or DM, and a lot of them, because of their profession as science communicators, they're very active on social media because a lot of their portfolios are on social media. So that kind of makes them more likely to read your DM. And once they've read it, we have had like an overwhelmingly positive reaction to our organization. So a lot of them have agreed to do interviews with us. So we've scheduled those. And then once we publish those interviews on our newsletter, our organization has gained more traction from them because a lot of these people are very popular, have very popular portfolios on social media.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And something to keep in mind is if you contact 5 professionals, you're not going to get 5 that respond. So when it comes to cold emailing, a lot of times it's just like 2 out of 10 will respond if they're like a doctor in their profession. But sometimes, personally, currently, I've been reaching out to doctors for a panel, and I got around like 3 out of 5 that responded. So just, I guess, like finding doctors that are not like the biggest doctors on Instagram, finding doctors that are experts in their field, they know what they're doing, but they're not like the types of doctors that have, like 15,000 followers on Instagram. A lot of those doctors will not even read your messages because they get so many. So finding doctors that um, organizations may have not partnered with, finding doctors that are unique in their field. So, for example, you could find doctors in specific specialties according to what your conference is, according to what your target audience is. So, just looking into that type of stuff. And then, if you ever need like a sample message of what I send out to doctors and professionals, definitely just like shoot a DM on my page, on the Inspire Medicine page. I would be more than happy to provide that to you.
Yep. So the last question before we end this is, how do you manage your social media accounts, and how many people have access to your accounts? So, like I said before, we Medical Wonders has social media managers, and I was really lucky and got 2 of the most like amazing, carefree, like the kindest undergrad students ever. They literally are amazing, and they always help out. So you want to make sure that you have motivated individuals. Like, you can just tell by the way that they apply themselves in their applications and tell you why they really want to be in your organization and what kind of experience they have. You can just tell that they're really motivated and dedicated. So that's another thing. And how many people have access? I think about 2 to 3 others have access to my account, but they're just the social media managers, so they obviously need to have access.
Yeah, so for me, we typically try to limit the amount of people that have access to social media pages only because sometimes it can get pretty hard to manage with multiple people when they're coordinating shoutouts, when they're coordinating takeovers. So personally, I am the one who manages the Inspire Medicine page. I create some of the content, I do all the posting and like all the DM work when it comes to creating partnerships. So yeah, I definitely recommend just having somebody who you can rely on, having somebody that's responsible and is a good communicator manage your social media account.
So for our organization, we have a graphic designer that's sort of the content creator for our Instagram page, and we have 2 social media managers that sort of coordinate takeovers and shout outs along with gaining traction with several posts.
All right, that ends it. So thank you to all who kind of asked questions and stuff. And this will be on our YouTube. So if you're watching this as a recorded session, if you're a member for Medical Wonders, you guys will be getting hours. You guys just have to contact us for it, and we'll give you the hours for this year's kind of membership. So yeah, thank you guys so much for kind of coming on and answering all these questions and stuff. And we hope that you guys actually learned something from this.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.